Hi everybody, it's Leo Brady here with AMovieGuy.com. I am here with the amazing, legendary John Carroll Lynch.
Yeah, that's right.
Very happy to be here with you. So this film,
Yeah.
your first directorial debut, and man, it did a lot to me. It's one of my favorites that I've seen so far here at South by Southwest. Really got me teared up. Can you talk a little bit about, getting Harry Dean Stanton in on this project and what, sort of inspired you to make this film?
Well, Harry Dean was the genesis of the project, so I would say it was the other way around.
Okay.
Logan Sparks and Drago Samanja, Logan has known Harry for a long time, and Drago has known him for a long time too, through Danny Coleman.
Okay.
And they wanted to work with Harry.
Yeah.
And they wanted to kind of express their love of his work and their appreciation of him as a man.
Yeah.
And so they started writing this script, and like I'm sure hundreds of other people have said to Harry Dean Stanton, I want to do this movie with you, man. It's going to be great. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Okay, fine, let's go. Let's go out to Dantana's, whatever.
Right.
And they were writing it, and they wrote it for him, about him, and they wrote it to focus in on that part of his life that he's passionate about, which is this sense of being present in this moment, that there's nothing else happening.
Yeah.
And he's really good at that. Anyway, I came in much later. I came in after they gave me the script to read. They wanted me to play one of the characters in the movie. I said, of course I would.
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, they were like, we're thinking maybe, would you think about directing? Drago knew I had wanted to direct for a while.
Right.
I jumped at the chance, of course. I mean, you have Harry Dean Stanton, Ed Begley Jr., and David Lynch attached.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and talk about this cast. I mean, they all sort of have, in some way, a connection with Harry Dean Stanton.
Sure.
And then you also bring on, these are some of the greatest character actors I've ever seen. Beth Grant.
Yeah, Beth Grant.
She's.
Well, it was kind of like a mixture of everybody's Rolodex.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Ed, Harry, David, then Tom Skerritt, which was later, but his great connection with Harry,
right,
being an Alien reunion.
Yeah.
James Darren, who's incredible in the film, came through Ira Stephen Bear because he worked on Deep Space Nine.
Right.
Beth Grant, I had just worked with on Jackie, and literally worked with her. I think 6 months before, something like that.
Yeah.
And Barry Shabaka Henley I'd worked with before.
Right.
And Ron Livingston I'd worked with before. So
yeah.
it was a great thing. And then we got to add Hugo Armstrong and Yvonne Huffley. It was terrific.
Yeah, so, and you talked a little bit about working with Beth Grant on Jackie. When was the production of this happening? Because you had a pretty awesome 2016. Jackie was AMovieGuy.com's #3 movie of last year.
Boom.
And, The Founder, got a lot of good press and things like that. So, is this been a long time coming, or do you work?
Well, what happened with that was I was working on The Founder in 2015.
Yeah.
And that's when they asked me to direct.
Okay.
So I sat in a laundromat waiting for my clothes to dry with them on a conference call, Drago and Logan on a conference call, and said, this is what I think the movie is.
Yeah.
And I talked them through the movie.
Yeah.
And they said, yep, that's it.
Wow.
And we started working on the script. We brought it to, we got a budget, we brought it to financiers in January of 2016.
Yeah.
And we were in production in June of 2016. That's how fast. It's helpful.
Yeah.
It's helpful when your lead is 89. You really want a quick no. So
right.
We got a lot of quick yeses, which was terrific.
Yeah.
And that was just after, I finished working on the script with Logan and Drago, and then I went off to Paris to do Jackie.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I was working on Turn and doing that. And then right after that, a movie I'd waited 5 years for, the money came in. So I shot an 18-day feature as a person who was playing the lead that finished the day before pre-production of this.
Yeah.
Which was stupid, but it was the way it had to be, and everybody was on board with it.
Yeah.
And all through the process, we were like, okay, we're going to get this in, we're going to get this in.
Yeah.
It worked out really well.
You have 3, off the top of my head, phenomenal scenes in this movie that, it really made it hard for me to pick one of my favorites. My favorite, obviously, notice the shirt, being
Yes,
a huge
yes.
Alien
Yeah, there you
fan.
go.
I mean, like, I really was, like, in awe of that moment. So talk about getting Tom Skerritt and Harry, like, I mean, it's sort of like this amazing moment of like, hey, I think I know you, or I have a connection with you.
Yeah. I mean, they served in the war together, right?
Right.
It was just against an alien beast. That's all. That's the only difference. It wasn't against the Japanese.
Right.
No, I really think what was great was you're looking around for somebody who's willing to do that, who's willing to do it on short notice because we had such little time.
Yeah.
It's a big speech. It's a really emotional speech. There's a lot going on. I mean, I'm talking about the scene,
right?
Not the speech.
Right.
And then Tom said yes, and Tom is somebody who people believe. Harry Dean requires actors who you don't feel are acting.
Right.
He never lets you see the work. He never lets you think you're not just sitting in the room with him.
Right.
And this movie is particularly intimate in that way.
Yeah.
And Tom brought that with him.
Yeah.
And that speech was so beautifully written. When we did the rehearsal, Harry Dean, we finished the rehearsal, and Harry Dean goes, the best speech in the movie, man.
Yeah.
Best speech in the movie.
Yeah, well, I would actually even make an argument to that, because Harry's speech at the end of the film is what really got me teared up. And a lot of, I mean, it's probably there in the script, but this movie has a lot of sort of looking at like mortality and life and things like that. What kind of like themes are you hoping that people take away from this when they see it,
I may over-metaphor this a little
bit.
But Lucky lives on the edge of town.
Yeah.
And he lives on the edge of mortality.
Right.
And it's easier for us to see mortality in a 90-year-old man than it is for me to see it in my life, for me.
Right.
But he is experiencing the same question that we should all think about.
Yeah.
My mortality is kind of like, you know that you have that thing, it's in the corner of my eye, it's always in the corner of my eye, but I can never quite catch up to it, I can never quite really look at it square.
Right.
And the screenplay matched where Harry is, what Harry wants to express.
Yeah.
Harry Dean wanted to express in this screenplay, which was looking at it straight in the eye.
Yeah.
And figuring out a way to find joy.
Right. Well, there's two films that actually came to my mind when I was watching this. It seems like it's, and it may be a coincidence, obviously. This feels like a great companion piece with the movie Patterson from last year. I don't know.
I was told that today.
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet.
Jim Jarmusch's film.
Yeah,
it feels like a really good. And also, too, I actually sort of got a little bit of My Darling Clementine from like John Ford, because it feels like kind of a guy's last ride, the lone gunman's last ride.
Well, we talked about a lot of different movies, and Jim Jarmusch was an inspiration to the writers. And as we worked on it in pre-production, the names that came up for us were Jim Jarmusch and David, obviously,
right,
and John Ford.
Yeah.
And we talked about it like, what if John Ford were to make a character piece?
Yeah.
And that sense of vista, that sense of smallness in a vast place, all were important to this movie.
Yeah, it's awesome. I want to ask you one more question before we go. You've obviously had a phenomenal career. You've got 3 movies that like anybody would love to hang their hat on, and one of them.
I'm losing my hat.
One of them, it's the 10-year anniversary of Zodiac.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a movie? Yeah, I mean, the movies I'm thinking of are Fargo, Shutter Island, and Zodiac. I mean, are those 3 movies that you're just like extremely proud of, able to sort of say?
I have to say, I mean, I've been so fortunate in the movies that I've gotten to work on, and the people I've gotten to work with are the top of the line, and to work with them and to learn from them and be with them as they learn has been a joy for me. Those 3 movies particularly were with, great. I mean, a pantheon of great directors, as was Gran Torino.
Right.
And so I wish I could say that I'm just been so blessed. And it's funny when people go, hey, it's the 20th anniversary of Fargo. Hey, it's the 10th anniversary of Zodiac.
Yeah.
And I've suddenly thought to myself, when people start remembering the anniversaries of when the movies come out, that means they really like those movies.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Nobody says, hey, it's the 40th anniversary of Porky's Revenge. They never go, hey, man, that came out 40 years ago today.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I love this film.
Thanks,
I
man.
can't praise it enough. I mean, I'm telling everybody it's one of the best movies at South by, and
Awesome.
we're extremely happy to have you.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, John.
Great to be interrupted.
Yeah, that's all right. Thanks.
Before we cut, could the two of you talk real quick about how you just discovered that you're connected?
Okay, so this is I'll take this.
You are.
Run with it.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
A gentleman comes in, he says, hi, I'm Leo Brady. I said, really, your name is Leo Brady? And I said, yeah. I said, the guy who taught me playwriting at Catholic University was Leo Brady. And Leo said, that's
my grandfather. Yeah. It's.
And here's another little twist. My grandfather's name?
What?
Leo.
Oh my God.
It's
That's
a
unbelievable.
strong name.
It is a great name. It's a great name.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
John Carroll Lynch's.
Yeah, too many else in the middle.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Awesome. Thanks, bud. So awesome, man. This is so great.